Well, hi, friends, and welcome to Saturday of Holy Week. Aside from Good Friday, I think that Saturday was probably the most difficult day for the original disciples and followers of Jesus. I mean, watching Jesus being beaten and executed on Good Friday would have been awful. But on Saturday, that's when the reality of their situation would have fallen hard on them as they wondered what was next. I mean, here they were, broken and raw inside, suffering from the loss of the Lord that they loved. They probably feared for themselves, wondering if they might be next, that the religious leaders would hunt them down as followers of Jesus. They probably even thought about the future and what was going to happen next, but they probably did it almost hopelessly. After all, hope was just too painful. I mean, they had hoped in Jesus, and look where that had gotten them. Now, some of this is somewhat conjecture, but we can see a lot of these emotions from the disciples when we see what they were like on the Sunday before they met Jesus. For example, in Luke chapter 24, we have the story of two of the disciples of Jesus that were on the road traveling to a village called Emmaus, which was about 11 kilometers from Jerusalem. And as they walked along and were going along, they talked about everything that had happened. Now, a stranger came alongside them and began to walk with them, and the stranger asked them what they were talking about. And so they stopped, and with their faces downcast, they asked the stranger, "Do you not know what happened in Jerusalem with Jesus of Nazareth? He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. But the chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped that he was going to be the one to redeem Israel." Or in John chapter 20, we have the story of Mary Magdalene who discovers the empty tomb, but she thinks that someone has actually stolen the body of Jesus. And so she weeps, missing Jesus, and she begs who she thinks is the gardener for him to tell her where he's put Jesus' body so that she can go and get him. She's absolutely distraught because she just misses Jesus so much. Or further on in John chapter 20, Thomas was told that Jesus was alive, but he just couldn't bear the thought of hoping just to have his hopes crushed again. And so he tells the other disciples, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and I put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I'm just not going to believe." Friends, I'm sure for the original disciples, it looked like the darkness had won, that evil had triumphed over good, and that hopelessness had won the day. On that Saturday, the darkness of this world looked like it had it all together, that the darkness was in control. And isn't that how it feels when everything seems to be going wrong in our lives? When financial hardships come, or relationships break down, leaving us alone, or health crisis after health crisis comes our way, or when the world is stuck in a never-ending pandemic. It just so often looks like the darkness really is in control and is stronger than the light. But friends, that's not the whole story. Now, the only gospel writer to write anything much about Saturday is Matthew. But what Matthew shows us is simply a glimpse into the reality that the darkness actually isn't in control. It doesn't rule the day, and it actually fears the light. We're told in Matthew 27, starting at verse 62, that the next day, the one after Preparation Day, remember, Preparation Day was the day when the Jews got ready to celebrate the Sabbath. So the day after Preparation Day, after Good Friday, was Saturday, the Sabbath. Well, on that day, the chief priests and the Pharisees went to Pilate, and they said, "Sir, we remember that while he was still alive, that deceiver Jesus said, 'After 3 days I will rise again.' So give the order for the tomb to be made secure until the third day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal the body and tell the people that he has been raised from the dead. This last deception will be worse than the first." And so Pilate answered them, saying, "Take a guard, go and make the tomb as secure as you know how." And so they went and made the tomb secure by putting a seal on the stone and posting a guard. These Pharisees, these chief priests, those agents of darkness, were still afraid. You would think that having killed Jesus, they would be celebrating, that this would be the best Sabbath day ever for them. But no, they remembered Jesus' promise to rise again. And so, having killed him and put him 6 feet under, they wanted to make sure that no one could pretend that he had come back, and they wanted to even keep him from coming back if he did rise again. And so they sealed the tomb. Now, sealing or securing a tomb was not like making it airtight or strapping that rock down in place so that it couldn't be rolled away. You see, when the Romans sealed something, a notice was posted and a detachment of guards was sent to ensure that it was done on penalty of death. You see, if Jesus' body was stolen, or if he did rise again, or if anything happened such that that tomb was empty when it was checked, then the guards would be executed. And so there's no way that those guards were going to let that happen because their lives depended on it. It was a very serious thing. In fact, it was such a serious thing that it shows us just how strong the darkness feared Jesus. You know, I think in the background, Satan was probably like, "Yes, I killed him, but he promised to come back to life, so I gotta hold him down in the grave. I can't let him come back." Satan was afraid. The darkness quivered and trembled with fear. And so while the disciples mourned and even lost hope, the darkness was also afraid. And it was afraid because, friends, the light always wins. Don't believe me? Just go and open your closet right now. Does the darkness come out or does the light shine in? Light always gets rid of darkness. Friends, we're all going to face situations and challenges that seem hopeless, that feel too heavy for us to carry and are too hard for us to handle. But while we might have to wait for a while, just like Jesus' disciples had to wait for him to rise again, we can have confidence that Jesus will come through for us. Sunday is coming. Jesus did rise from the grave. So don't wait hopelessly. Wait with hope, knowing that Jesus is for you, not against you, and he will work all things out for your good and for his glory. So have a great Saturday. And don't forget to join with us tomorrow as we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus on Easter Sunday. See you then.